Hi, this is Janie. I have a new flower that anyone can make. It is so easy, and it looks lovely. They're tulips, but they're flat and they're not very dimensional. They have a little bit of dimension. So I think they could make it through the mail. I'll have to say I haven't tried it yet. This one I put a little bit more dimension in, but they're very simple and they're lovely. I have colored these with Lindy Stamp Gang, the Alpine Ice Rose, and a little bit of the Rambling Rose Pink. The blue in this is Lindy Stamp Gang's Bachelor Button Blue, and the green is the Edelweiss Moss Green. And it just, I don't know if you can see how it shimmers. It's just absolutely beautiful. Anyway, let me show you how the tulips go together. They're really easy. I think anyone can do them. I have three main different shapes. The ones that make this flower that has a little dimension comes with a piece like this, and these pieces fold over, and then we put one in the center like that. Easy breezy. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. There's also the three pieces that go together if you want to make smaller buds like this, a tighter flower. There's this main back piece and two teardrop shaped pieces that you can put together very tightly to make a little bud, or you can open it out a little more, just depending on how much you move these two side pieces. And there is two pieces that come together. This is like if you had two side pieces and fuse them together, and then just lay that piece on top of it, and that lays flat. And I have one here on the back and on the inside. It just lays flat, and you can see the Lindy Stamp Gang just shimmering. On these I do the whole petal with the Alpine Ice Rose, and then I take a paintbrush and hit a few places to make it darker with the Rambling Rose Pink. And you can see the shimmer there. Gorgeous. And then on the outside, I have embossed this with a Anna Griffin embossing folder, and I have sprayed Edelweiss Moss Green on this, and that is the Bachelor Button Blue. And I've also used the same Bachelor Button Blue for the ribbon. It's a seam binding that I color, and it's absolutely gorgeous and shimmery. And these flowers are so easy to do, you'll just be amazed at how quick and easy they come together. Let me show you first how I color them. I have the Alpine Ice Rose, and your Lindy Stamp Gang comes with a sprayer. I also buy some of the felt caps that they call the Old Baldy, and I just keep it separate. There's a few colors that I know I'm going to use more than others with the felt caps, and I keep those designated. But then the other felt caps, I'll use them, and if I'm not going to use that same color a lot with the felt cap, I can take the felt cap and wash it out and let it dry, and then use it again whenever I need another one. But the Alpine Ice Rose and the Bachelor Button Blue I pretty much use with the caps because I use them a lot, and I just like the way you can apply it with this. For this one, you want to color that entire back petal. You really only see the top and the bottom, but if you don't do the bottom, it may show later. And I do the tips of those two petals. Then hopefully you'll let it dry, but I'm just going to show you. Then you're going to color that side of the petal and overlap a little bit right here where it's joined. Overlap a little bit right there, and you're going to let that dry. And then you only have to color one side of this middle petal, like that. And then I come in with a paintbrush and the Rambling Rose Pink, and I just squirt a little on my craft mat, and to help it flow better, I'm going to spray a little water, and I'm just going to get a little bit of that and color the edges, or maybe down the center a little bit, and it can be a little stripy, that's fine. Not sure how well you can see that. See if I make it a little bit darker. I've just gotten that much in the other color, and when it dries, it blends in really well and just adds a little bit extra interest. If it's all one color, it's a little flatter. I just need to do the tops here and maybe down a little bit, and then on this side I usually do the outside edges. I just do the outside edges on these. And then I have one that's already dry here. I have these that are already dry. And you'll need a foam mat. I just use this. It is a wrist guard to help reduce the strain on your wrist that came with our mouse pad, and I just use it for crafts because almost all the stuff in my house gets used for crafts at some point. You just lay it on your foam pad, and I just emboss it and go ahead and emboss these pieces. I'm using the stylus and just running over it. I have a large stylus. It's part of a set by McGill where you get 3 styluses, and there are 3 larger ball sizes and 3 smaller. And I make a lot of flowers, so I really get a lot of use out of these because I make different sizes of flowers, and they're really handy. If you don't make a lot of flowers, then you can get away with using regular ones, or for these you can even use the rounded end of a paintbrush or a Sharpie marker. If you have a pencil or something that has a rounded end, you could use that too. So I embossed that part, and now I'm going to take something round like a paintbrush, and because I don't want this to just fold over and have a sharp line, straight line like that, I'm going to kind of round it, this part where this petal joins. I'm just going to kind of round it over this by turning it over, and then when I go to glue that down, it will have a little dimension and be rounder and not quite as straight, and I'll have to show you once I get it facing me. Just take this and round it. You could rub it back and forth over the paintbrush like that if that's easier. And I'll take a little bit of the quick dry glue, Scotch quick dry. I'm going to put some glue on this outer edge from the fold down to the bottom of that edge, and then a tiny bit at the tip there. And I'll just bring this edge over where it comes in even, or even hanging over a little bit of this back one. so that I don't want that back petal to show. I want you to be able to see this one and not the back. Like that. I'll just hold it a second. Put some glue from that fold to the end and up a tiny bit. Fold it over and hold it at the bottom, making sure I have that flush, or else have this, the layer on top, hanging over a little bit. And that will dry, and I will take the center part of the flower, and this one I'm going to turn on the back side, the side that's not colored, to emboss it. And I want the lines, when you emboss it, you get small creases like that, but tulips have those naturally anyway, so I'm not going to try to smooth those out like I do on a lot of my other flowers. On this one, let me get a pen and show you where I'm putting the glue. That might be easier to see. On this one, I'm going to go around the edges about like that. And this top part will be free of any glue. It won't have any glue right up here, but just where that blue line is where I'm going to be putting the glue. Oops. And then this will go in the middle, and you want to make sure that it comes over the bottom a tiny bit so that you're hiding the rest, and you think this is the, petal that's coming out from underneath it. And there you have your nice little tulip, and you'll have to hold it just a tiny bit to let it dry. If it's just really flat once you get it dry, like this one, see how it's kind of flat right there on the end, and it's a lot bigger up here. You can slide in a paintbrush or something and just kind of wiggle it around and give that a little bit more dimension if you want to. Let me show you one more time. Whoops, that one's not dry yet. Show you one more time where you can try to see what I'm doing. Again, I have this piece facing with this center portion that's colored up, and that's the back of your petal, so we're shaping it that way. Get these pieces. Be sure and get that seam right there where this petal meets the back piece. And while I have the stylus in my hand, I'm going to emboss the back of that one petal. Then, I'll show you. I'm going to put glue where those blue lines indicate. And then you just fold it over. Oh, I didn't round that part. And if that comes out too straight on the edge, you can stick a paintbrush in and round that up a little more. Be careful or the paintbrush will go down the bottom. I've done that many times by now. And you can always just press in on those edges a little bit to make them not quite so flat. So you have that done. And I'll put glue on this petal. Oops. And make sure it comes down on the bottom a little bit. And you have a tulip. Now you color the other ones before this dries up. You just saw how I would do this one. Let me show you how I would do the one for the bud. I would do the whole petal on one side, and the Alpine Ice is what I've chosen to use here. And then I'd take my paintbrush and come down the sides and the middle for that back one. Come down one side at least for the other petals. And then those are still wet, so I'll switch to these. For a tight bud, you would take these 3 pieces you're going to emboss the middle one, the larger one, with the color side up, and the other 2 with the color side down. And you'll just put a little glue around the edges, but not on the top. And put one on one side, and that could still pass for a little bud if you just glued that one down. We'll put one on the other side. And you can open it up a little more. Or make it really tight. Let's see if you, we'll make this one fairly tight. We'll make this one a little more open. These are still a little bit wet, but I'm going to show you. Here I'm going to angle the tip out just a little more. Angle that tip out just a little so that it looks like the bud's just a little more open. And I'll show you. This is a small bud, and this one I just opened up a little bit more. And then these are the, you fold in the 2 side pieces and put a top piece on. Then for that inside one, it's just flat, you don't need to emboss it. I put glue on the back of the center petal. And just put it down like that, where you have this piece overlapping just a tiny bit on the bottom. And there you have your flat tulip. So let me show you, clean this up, and I'll show you how the card goes together.